Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to Sisterhood Check-in. I am your author and coach, Nadira Lewis, and it's Friday. Woo! I'm glad that you have spent another Friday here with us here at Sisterhood Check-in. I appreciate you for tuning in and watching us today because we are going to have an amazing, did I say amazing? We're going to have an amazing show because I have special guest, Alberta Alblordeppey, and I hope I spelled her name correct. I hope I pronounced it correct. Alblordeppey. Alberta Alblordeppey. She's here with us, and she is the founder, CEO of Highly Favored Foundation. And I'm telling you, I've been watching her on the internet. I've been watching her and the things that she and her husband have been doing, and it is amazing. I cannot wait to dialogue with her. But before we start our show, I want to play something. I want to make sure that I make you aware. Last Saturday, for those that participate in the Create Content That Pops, I know you guys had an awesome and amazing time. This Saturday, tomorrow at 7 p.m., I am also going to be doing another class. And this class is going to be specifically for people that want to do broadcasts or podcasts and want to learn how to monetize off of. So you're not going to only learn how to just start your own broadcast, just like Sisterhood Check-in, but I'm going to also teach you how to monetize from it also. So make sure you go to my website, www.womanofproverbscoaching.com, and make sure you sign up for registration tomorrow. You have one more day to do so. So if you haven't done so already, make sure you go to the website and sign up. So if you are watching us on Facebook, make sure you click the like and share button if you have been blessed by the content you've been receiving so far. If you are watching us via YouTube, make sure you click the like and the subscription button. Make sure you subscribe and hit the notification button so that you can be notified every time we upload a new video. So I want to play something for you guys real quick, and we'll be back right after this. We are back, and it looks like we may have lost our guest really quickly, so we'll wait for her to return back. So Alberta, why we'll be waiting briefly. You can just click the link to enter back into the broadcast. And while we're waiting for her, I just want to know, how has your week been going? Make sure you put in the comments. Let me know where you're watching from, what state you're watching from. Let me know if you've been blessed, if you've been enjoying the content. I'll even solicit your feedback for things you want to see on the Sisterhood Check-in broadcast. So I'm excited to hear from you to determine exactly what you guys like, and while we're waiting for Alberta. So let me read you something while we're waiting. I tell you, I've had an amazing week, and I'm just excited to be able to dialogue with Alberta and just find out. She's been amazing, guys. She's been awesome. I've been watching her Facebook page, and maybe that's what I'll do. I'll let you guys get a little glimpse while we're waiting for her to log back in. Hi, Sonia. Thanks for watching Sisterhood Check-in. I'm gonna go ahead and pull up her page, and we're gonna find out exactly what Alberta's been up to. Let's see. Hold on one second. All right, let's see. I'm going to make sure we're pulling up her page so we don't pull up somebody else's page. Hold on one second. Okay, so Highly Favored Foundation by Alberta is a foundation where she talks with widows, where she actually helped widows. So I'm going to pull her up. I want you to see for yourself so you guys can see some of the things that she's into. Oh, she even has her website, but it looks like she is logging back in. So let's give her a few minutes. And while we're waiting, what has been interesting happening in your life today, like this week? Did you guys have anything interesting? I want to hear it in the comments. Tell me exactly what you guys have been up to. All righty. Okay. So let me go ahead and share this page. We're going to share some of the things that she has been involved in. She's an awesome young lady. I'm telling you, I see her and her husband on Facebook. They've been, their foundation cares for widows and homeless people, in different places. And I mean, this is one lady who is actually doing her thing. And I'm going to bring her back so she can tell us herself. Welcome back, Alberta.
Hello.
Welcome back. So I was getting ready to talk about your foundation to kind of kill some time until you came back. But now, since you're back, I'm going to ask you the same question that I ask most of my guests. Tell us a little bit about who you are, Alberta, and how you got into be the awesome woman of God I've seen you to be.
And I can hardly hear you, by the way. I'm so sorry.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Let's see if I can fix that. You can't hear me, you said?
I can hardly hear you. I truly apologize.
That's okay. Can you hear me now?
Hello.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, but you are just so faint.
Okay, let's try this. Is that better? Can you hear me better? Okay. Looks like are having a little bit of trouble with Alberta, but we're gonna let her continue to turn back. But I wanted to read to you guys something that here she goes. She's back. Can you hear me better now?
I can hear you better now, yes.
Oh, great. So Alberta, share with us about who you are and how you became the awesome woman of God that you are today.
All right. So, hello, everyone. My name is Alberta. She already said my name, Alberta, with a long last name, Alblordeppey. And that last name is coming from Ghana, West Africa, and simply means freedom. The freedom land, freedom. All right. So, I am a mother of 6. I'm a very proud mom of 6, including triplets and a wife. We all struggle here and there, but I've always just wanted to be the best version of me. I am not perfect, but I've always wanted to be the best version of me. And I have always just trusted in God. I've called myself highly favored so many times because I just believe in the word favor. I always feel like, I cannot do anything by might. It has always been by the grace of God. So that calling, that name highly favored has had so much impact on my life. And today, I am the CEO of a foundation called Highly Favored Foundation. And simply what we're doing is touching the lives of the less privileged in our societies. And there was a Bible verse that has always touched my heart, that has guided me all this while. And that Bible verse is in James 1:27. Literally, it just says the religion that God accepts as blameless and faultless is the religion where you take care of orphans and you take care of widows who are in their distress. That touched my heart so much. And so I know I didn't quote that right, but James 1:27 has just been amazing. And so the little that I have, I always want to share with people. And I've always believed that you are never blessed until you become blessing unto others. And so I have been in need before. I have want things before. I have need things before. And then so when I got to a place where I felt like I'm comfortable, I told myself, you have to impact the world. It might be little, but it would change somebody's life. Every little counts. So that has just been something that I live on. Every little that I get, I thank God so much. I always count my blessing, and I love to name them one by one, and I love to share with other people.
Yeah, I've watched you on Facebook, and I said, "Wow, she." I seen you in different. You were in Ghana, I'm assuming, in different places, and you were giving out diapers. And I was looking, and I was like, "Wow!" Every time I see you, you're in your country or you're in different locations, different places, and you're always displaying. And I love your pictures. I watch your pictures, and I'm like, you
Oh,
always you just always you never it doesn't I mean, I know we all as believers go through things and we have moments where we're discouraged, but I somehow when I look at your picture, it's just like I don't care what I'm going through that day. I look at your picture and I'm like, this woman is a perfect example of perspective, how you see
oh,
yourself in any situation, because I love you just be like,
oh,
and I'm like, this woman you are so motivating when I look at your pictures and I look at how you display the love of God.
wow.
It's shown all over you. And I see
Oh,
you, I watch your
wow.
page, even though I know we don't talk, but I watch you. I've been watching you for a
Wow.
very long
Oh,
time. I watch it when you go on vacation. I'm like, man, what is she doing? Like she's
oh
just
my
always
God.
she's in Ghana like every other week. It seems like, just seem like every other month. I'm like, wow. But you give an example when people look at you of what it's like to be truly content and truly happy. And you said it when you give to other people, when you're blessing other people. So your life is clearly evident that it's not selfish. And that even though you have 6 children, I have 6 children too. So
Oh,
it's
wow.
just
You do?
amazing.
Wow.
Yes,
Amazing.
yes, I have 4 adult children and I have 2 small children from my late husband. I'm a widow also.
You,
So,
you were
yeah.
beautiful, by the
Well, thank
way.
you. Well, thank you. It's nothing but the grace of God. I tell you that. Nothing but the grace of God. I've been through a lot, but I thank God for his grace that he, has allowed the circumstances and things that I've gone through to not overtake me. And I believe he didn't allow it to overtake me is because I kept my focus on him. I kept my focus on him, not things that are surrounding me and things that was going on around me. I kept my focus on him. And the scripture that says when you keep your mind on him, he'll keep you in perfect peace. And I think
That's
peace
true.
is what people seek for. Peace, they look for peace in so many different things. They look for peace in their jobs, they look for peace in their work. And the only true lasting peace comes through a relationship with God. And I think when you start there, everything else around you starts to line up. So
You're right.
I know that you just weren't born with this smile. I know you've had some things in your life that has caused your smile has a price. So give us a little bit of background on what your life was like before Christ and how did you come to Christ? How did you become this woman where you're just smiling all the time and cheering and giving? Talk to us a little bit about who you are and how you've gotten to where you are.
All right. So, okay. So I was born, my childhood experience was literally in Ghana, West Africa. And I was raised in a polygamous family where my dad
Really?
was married to 3 wives.
Wow.
Yes. And then my mom was the quiet one. She was very quiet. She was very skinny, quiet. And then we have different dialects and different, so she was a totally different dialect from the other women and from my dad.
Mhm.
So I have witnessed where she was picked on, where she was fought. And I remember being little, my heart just used to hurt for her anytime
Wow.
she was just pushed to the corner and then she's all by herself and she's so quiet. And I remember I would just stand in and fight for her, like even though I was so little,
Mm.
so I have seen that kind of life. And then I saw when my dad passed away. Okay, so it got to a point my dad passed away, and let me tell you, my dad was very wealthy, very rich.
Wow.
Rich. We didn't lack anything. I mean, she have,
Wow.
But then when he passed away, I had things became so hard because I had family members from my dad's side that literally wanted everything my dad had. So my mom,
Wow.
being the quiet type, have to really just switch and be And her speech is, it's okay, let's just give it to God, it's okay, it's okay. And I remember I used to be so upset, like, no, it's not okay, no, it's not okay. And then I'm like, so we have to get used to a different kind of lifestyle when dad passed away, because my mom was not doing any job. She was so dependent on my dad, so she never worked herself, she never did anything. So life became very hard for us. And I remember I have to always, I watch my mom, and sometimes it got to a point that what to eat became a problem for us. So it was just prayer. So that's when my mom started praying, and I keep watching my mom, and I'm like, wow, she is always talking about God, God, God. What is all this God all about? So that's when I noticed that when things become so hard and we get to a crossroad, God always made a way. And then I'm like, wow, what kind of God is this that, I mean, just makes a way when it seems to be no way, And then I'm like, okay, this is just some extraordinary forces, or there is definitely a supreme being really watching over us. So God was so faithful. I had an uncle here in United States, and then one day he called and said, well, would you like to come to school in America? And I said, wow, I've always viewed America to be, you know, um, to be heaven, literally. Like, I know it's a beautiful country and all that. And so I said yes. So I'm sorry, he actually sent me an application form for a school, and it was Northern Kentucky University. I applied for the school and I had admission. And so I came. And then when I came, life was hard because it was a
Mm.
different environment than I thought. Things wasn't that rosy. I have to work, and I didn't used to work in Ghana. I have to pay bills. I didn't used to pay bills in Ghana. So everything was just
Mm.
different for me. The language was different. I had accents. It was different. And so God carried me through, and that is where that name Jesus started making sense. And then I noticed that
Oh.
every time I mention the name Jesus too, something happens. God really hears me, because things was hard, And so when I started depending more on this Jesus and this God that I've always heard my mom mention. And I said, look, I have watched my mom gone through so much and always mention this name. I'm going to be sticking to the name. I want to know more about the name. And so that's where I 100% gave my life to Christ. And I have never been disappointed. It's been testimonies upon testimonies. I was able to graduate from school, undergraduate, Northern Kentucky University. I was able to do my master's degree. I was able to bring my siblings. And let me tell you, it was hard because I didn't have any help here at all. But at a point in time, I was working 3 jobs.
Wow.
And I was able to bring all my siblings here
Mm-hmm.
to the glory of God. And it was just the favor. It was just the grace of God. Everything was just, was working in my favor. When I send them invitation, they go to the embassy, they get a visa. So 2 of my siblings, sisters were here, and then my little brother joined. And then I was able to bring my mother here. So coming here all alone, even though I had an uncle, he had his own issues. So he was helpful. But then I had to just hustle on my own and went through school by myself, paid tuition because I wasn't an American citizen, so I didn't qualify for loans or any of that. So I have to work and pay tuition out of pocket, brought my siblings here, and to the glory of God, I took them. I took care of them. They went to school as well, and they all graduated. And so
Wow.
watching my mother, and from the background we came from, and her as a widow who never had any job, and just keep mentioning the name Jesus, I told myself, I said, look, I just have to rely on God for the rest of my life. I have to be able to help those people in need, because I have been in need before. So regardless of what my situation is, If I wake up in the morning and I have life and I can breathe, that is a huge miracle for me. That is why you probably see me always smiling and always happy. It's
Yes.
not that I don't have any issues, but I have made up my mind that regardless of the issues around me, regardless of the problems around me, God did not give up on me. God still woke me up in the morning and I'm up. I am going to be happy regardless. And
Mm,
everything will fall in place. So I struggle a lot because I went through divorce as well. A lot of people don't know, but I did went through divorce and it was terrible, but God saw me through. God was just overly faithful to me. I was able to remarry and have triplets and have other kids, and
wow.
I'm a proud mother of six. And I can tell you it's just by the grace of God. So if you're listening to me out there, whatever you're going through, I just want to tell you that if you are able to wake up in the morning, all right, if God did not give up on you, and you still have life and you can still breathe, God have a plan for you. So don't give up. That's just don't give up. And I'm not just saying this just for saying sake, but I have experienced this. Things were really, really hard transitioning to America. Going through divorce. I had a child in that marriage that I have to fight custody battles for. And I went through a lot. And I'm actually in a land that, I'm a foreigner literally. And
Yeah.
so with different rules and different laws. And if I can be here today and still smile, and you can smile as well, because our God is so good. Our God will never give up on you. This kind of Jesus, I didn't used to trust this name, but this name is so powerful that, I have tried it. I have tested it. God just give you peace that surpasses all understanding in the middle of the storm. The storm is there, but then God gives you the strength and the peace to go through it. So if you're seeing me today, sharing the little I have with the less privileged, I do it joyfully. And I feel like it's just a great privilege to be able to even do this for people.
That's amazing. I think the thing that sticks out with me the most is the reminder constantly of having an attitude of gratitude. And I think when you learn to be grateful in just the little things, it makes it easier to get through some of the hard times when you're going through in your mind. It doesn't mean that you don't still go through things, but it's how you process what you
That is
go through.
right.
Is when you have a little bit of gratitude. Like I noticed, like yesterday I was like, I came home and I was just like, man, I just felt like, sometimes you just get overwhelmed with different things. And I just begin to say, God, I just thank you. I'm just thankful that that you have trusted me with the responsibility to be able to do all of these things. And my attitude shifted. And I realized that something just as simple as just thank you puts things in perspective. Something just
That
as
is
simple as, man, I woke up this morning, and things may not be going exactly the way you want them to, but I am
right.
here to tell about it. I have another day. God's given me grace for another
Yes,
day. And I think that's what's missing, simplicity in being and just being grateful. Sometimes the more we get, sometimes the less grateful we are.
that is true.
And sometimes when you learn gratefulness in the little things, you appreciate as God give you. And it looks like that's what happened to you. You went from being, you grew up in a wealthy family, and you get to America, and then you have to start all the way from the bottom, but you had the example of gratitude from your mom. Though for maybe the other women that were in the house may have looked at it as a sign of weakness, you saw it as great, as an example of great strength, because that is
Correct.
what helped you when you got to America. That's amazing. That's
Yes.
amazing. And your smile, I look at your pictures, I'm like, there's just so much motivation just looking at your pictures. I was like, one of these days I'm going to have a conversation with her, because your life and your gratitude and how you, even with your family, is just, I can see gratitude practice in simplicity, you know.
Oh, Lord.
And it's amazing because you don't, most of the things that you do, I see, and everybody's responding and talking about how beautiful you are, how
Oh,
amazing
thank
you are.
you.
I don't know if you can see
Thank
the comments, but she said, Sonia said, I've been listening. She's amazing. And she said, I totally get being a giver even when I'm in need. Absolutely. And Sonia said,
Oh,
your smile is electric. And it is. That is
oh,
one of the things I've noticed, that when I watch you and I see you posting your pictures and I see you doing the things that you do, it's just, you can see the gratitude just oozing out of you. And it's encouraging. It's motivating because
oh.
it's,
I
you
am
can
so
tell.
happy.
Yeah. It's
I am glad
actually
to hear all
reflection.
that. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah. Even you look amazing too for 6 kids. I mean, I've watched you through your pregnancies on Facebook. I'm like, even through your pregnancies, and I'm like triplets. Oh my God. I'm like, I feel like I have triplets with my 4 and 7-year-old. I feel like I have twins, and you look refreshed. You don't look, I know you have an amazing husband there to help you out, and you guys just look so awesome together.
Oh.
What is it actually do you guys do? Do you guys work from home, or do you have your own business? What do you guys do as a family?
So I work for Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield. For Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield, I've been working with them for 12 years. So that's what I do. My husband worked for a pharmaceutical company called Tiva. And
Mhm.
so literally, I've been spending more time when COVID started doing a lot of charity work, and I've been more settled on my nonprofit. I'm so sorry I'm moving this phone here and there. When my kids start to make noise, then I move it around a little bit. So bear with me, mother of six struggle.
Oh, I understand. Trust me. I understand. I have to lock my door because my 4 and 7-year-old, I had to like fix the lock because they were coming in and busting the door in. I'm like, it's something about when you close that door, they think you're hiding something from them.
That
But
is
like, they don't want to lose access. If we were to be that way with God, I don't want to lose access, because in his presence is the fullness of joy. You don't want to lose access. You
Keep
don't want
going.
to
I'm
lose
moving
access.
again. Bear
That's
with me,
okay.
guys.
That's okay. I understand. You have a beautiful home, by the way. I can see it in the background.
Oh, thank you.
Well, we're gonna take a we have so many amazing comments. Carolyn says that your unselfishness makes you glow because it's the joy of the Lord. Absolutely.
That is true.
Sonia says it's like even now you're smiling and you need a Brillo pad to wipe it off. Carolyn said, mother of 5, she truly understands. Yes. So
Mother of
I'm telling
six.
you, well, she's a mother of 5. She's a mother of 5. She's saying she's a mother of 5.
Oh, she's a mother of 5. I get it. I get it.
Yeah, you understand. I know I'm a mother of 6. It's hard to believe, but God, it's amazing because when you do things, it's about taking care of yourself, self-care. And sometimes that self-care is taking time to spend time with God and allowing him to renew, refresh, and restore.
That is
And
true.
so, because as mothers, oh gosh, I'm sure you can relate, having small kids. I can't even imagine what dealing with triplets is like.
The struggle
I
is real.
So you mothers that are out there that have twins and triplets, I salute you. I tell you, I feel like I got twins and triplets because my 4 and 7-year-old are like neck and neck, and they fight times when they're like they're fighting over toys. I feel like I'm dealing with twins because my 4 older children, my oldest is 29 and she's
Oh,
married.
wow.
I have a 25.
Wow.
Yes, I have a 29-year-old,
Wow,
and
you do?
yeah, she's 29 and married, and she lives in California. And I have a 25-year-old. He lives in Smyrna, and they're all moved out the house and stuff. They have their own lives. I have a 23-year-old. He now lives in Dominican Republic, and I have a 19-year-old that's here now that goes to
You are
college here.
kidding me. You look like you're 29.
Oh,
Oh
well,
my
thank you.
goodness.
You do too. You look amazing too. And then I have a 4 and
I
7-year-old.
want to be like you when I grow up.
I'm 47. Could you believe it? 47. 47.
Wow.
Yes, yes.
You need to share your secret too. We need to know what's going on behind the scene. You look too
Self-care.
amazing.
Self-care, and learning how to is continuously learning how to carve out time for restoration, because you get burnt out, especially if you're a parent, or if you work, or if if you have responsibilities, whether it's through a business or through home. It gets tiring, and you have to find time to take time for you and learn how to close off time to get refreshed, to get revived. I know when I've taken on too much, because I get quickly. Yes, Danielle, she says, working on that. Because let me tell you something. You can get burnt out really quick. I used to feel like the more I did, the more productive I was. But sometimes busy doesn't always mean productive. And sometimes the best thing you can do is sit down somewhere and just take a moment. And she says, Nadira makes me feel old. I'm a few shy of 60. Sonia, you don't even look it. I'm telling you, you don't even look it. Sonia is a hairdresser. And she says she's a few years shy of 60. And let me tell you something. I look at our age as being old. I just look at it as we are being seasoned. We are seasoned. We have experiences that I heard a lady say this one time. When you're born, you look like your parents. When you die, you look like your choices. So we have to make sure that we remember that. Oh yeah, she says 3 more years. Absolutely. Carolyn also says self-care and balance. Definitely self-care and balance. And self-care is not necessarily makeup and hair. It's just rest. True. It's rest. So when you get rest, the makeup and the hair only brings out what's already there.
That is true.
It brings out what's already there. I look at you, and you are always just so naturally beautiful. And
thank you.
I just look at you, like I said, and I'm just always inspired. But we're gonna take a quick break, and I want you to talk to us about how you came up with your foundation. Okay. How do you even have the time with 6 children to even run? I'm telling you, mothers of this day and time, we are doing the darn thing. I'm telling you, we are business women. We are mothers, we are wives, and we are taking care of business. And so true. I would love to hear, some of the things about your organization, and even how you got started it, and what was your motivation, because I noticed that you said you actually help widows. And you actually help the less fortunate. So you just not only just help just anybody, you have a select group of people that you selected. And I'm interested to know more about why. So we're going to take a quick break, short break. And then I want you to talk to us about your foundation. We'll be back, guys. Thanks for watching. We are here with Alberta Alblordeppey. So make sure you come back and join us. We'll be back after this. Do you have a business, product, or service that you want to share on the Sisterhood Check-in broadcast? Make sure you send us a message at becomingawomanofproverbs@gmail.com, or you can reach out to us at 470-560-5949. We look forward to partnering with you here on the broadcast. Have a wonderful day. Don't forget to join me and international holistic health and wellness coach Charmaine Harrison as we begin to discuss all things health every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. in the Wisdom Clinic. I'll see you on the inside. You sometimes get overwhelmed and discouraged, but let me read to you what Colossians chapter 1 says, verse 8, who also declared unto us your love in the Spirit. For this cause we also, since the day we heard it, do not cease to pray for you, and to desire that ye might be filled with the knowledge of his will in all wisdom and spiritual understanding, that ye may walk worthy of the Lord unto all pleasing, being fruitful in every good work and increasing in the knowledge of God, strengthened with all might according to his glorious power unto all patience and long suffering with joyfulness, giving thanks unto the Father, which has made us meet to be partakers of the inheritance of the saints of light. I just want to take the time to tell you, be encouraged. Don't let anybody take your light, and just know that God is always in control. All right, and we are back with Alberta Alblordeppey. Oh, I think I did it right this time. I'm getting better. I'm getting better. And Alberta has been blessing us with her beautiful presence here, sharing with her about her life story, coming from a home where her mom was actually, her father had three wives, which is really interesting because I don't think I've ever met anybody who've experienced that. So wow, that's amazing. That's definitely different. Yeah, that's definitely different. So Alberta has gone through so much. Hi, hubby. I know you're in the background.
He said hi.
So I know you guys have, like I said, have done some amazing things. I really appreciate you being transparent and sharing your life story with us. It's greatly appreciated. You encouraged so many people so far. I want to talk about in this segment your foundation, the Highly Favored Foundation. If you guys have not seen it, I'm going to bring it up so you guys can see it. Tell us a little bit more about Highly Favored Foundation and what inspired you to start this foundation.
All right. So, Highly Favored Foundation. Yes, we are a nonprofit charity organization that basically just care for struggling widows and destitute kids and orphans. Um, and this foundation literally just started a year ago. But let me tell you, for the past 10 years, I have been doing this on my own and in my own little way, and even in my struggles. So I have seen, like I told you, I've seen my mom gone through so much that it got to a point where sometimes what to eat was a problem when my dad passed away. So I have seen that struggle, and then I have witnessed sick children in Africa, Ghana, West Africa, where I come from, being in hospital. Sometimes with no food. They're already sick, they have no food, and sometimes there is no money to even pay their hospital bills. So even if they are well, they are still kept at the hospital until their hospital bills are paid off for them to be discharged. And it's totally different from what you have here in America, because when you get sick in America, you still get medical, you can still go to the hospital, and then you worry about the bill after.
Mm-hmm.
But in Ghana, when you are sick and you don't have money, you don't get treated, period. And so I have watched all those struggles, and and then I told myself, I said, look, the little I have, I'm gonna share. So even when I came here, as soon as I got my first job, I was struggling to pay tuition. I was helping my siblings out because I was trying to bring them over here. And I remember I brought my sister here, but I was still sharing the little I have with people. Once every year, I go to Ghana. I go to the hospitals and just pay hospital bills. And let me tell you, some of those hospital bills are as low as $30, $20. $40, and that's just how much somebody needs to be out of the hospital. I have witnessed pregnant women who have no mattress, who have no bed to sleep on, who have no pillows at the hospital, and sometimes they have to take turns. And even if you have to have C-section, you have to wait, you have to control your labor on your own till a mattress or a bed becomes available. So I have witnessed where you've seen many women passing away at the hospital just because it's not their turn yet, because there is no much bed and pillows available for them to lay on and go into labor. So I have seen so many things, and so it was something I do for the past 10 years. And I didn't start the foundation then, but I was doing this. I would go to those hospitals and make little payments for some of these pregnant women, buy little things like pillow for them just to put their head on it. I go to the children wards and I buy them food here and there. And so I go to the widow. I love the widows most, especially because of what my mom went through, because most of the widows in Africa didn't have any job. And so they were totally dependent on their husbands. So once their husbands passed away, they are left with nothing. And most of them have kids, and they're struggling. So I would buy little things for these people, like cloth and, sanitary pad and women hygiene thing. And I give them a little money, sometimes $100, $50. And I'm like, okay, you could just start a little business with this. And trust me, when you give somebody $100, they are able to turn that money into something big, and it would amaze you, and I have been able to transform and touch so many lives, even in my struggle, with the little that I have, and I'm able to share with them. So I'm there one day and I'm like, let me just start a foundation. But I have also experienced where people have foundation. You will see them using little kids from Africa who are starving and here and there, and the money really don't get to them. They'll take donations here and there, and the people really don't benefit from it. So I never wanted to have a foundation just because of that thought. I'm like, somebody's going to sit somewhere and feel like I'm one of them. So let me just do my thing my little way. And then one day I was sitting there and God said, God, like the Spirit just spoke to me, like, you are an amazing person. You are doing great. But then there are people out there who want to do this but don't have the opportunity to do it. And so turn this into a foundation and not thinking about what other people are doing. Just focus on what you are doing, and I will bless you. So when I spoke to myself, I had that voice, and I'm like, I'm going to do this. So I just started this foundation, and I said Highly Favored Foundation. 90% self-funded, and then 10% individuals who have heard about me will be like, oh, Albie, you're doing a great thing. I've seen a picture here and there. I want to give you $50. And so then that's what I'm doing. That is how I started this foundation. And then when I got registered and everything, we started touching lives. We had a whole orphanage in Ghana with 71 kids, and all these kids have HIV, and it breaks my heart. And I'm like, how did a child ended up having HIV? And so they said, well, through pregnancy, and most of their parents died, passed away, or they are very, very sick and cannot take care of these kids. So these kids are in the orphanage. So every month I send money for these children to be able to eat at these orphanages. And I also have my widows, several widows that I have been able to set up 91 widows, and they are doing little trading businesses, and they are doing well just to sustain their family. And I have been to the women prisons in Ghana, because some people literally just steal food and they are in prison. Okay. And some of these women in prison don't even have any water to drink. Some of them, excuse me to say, you'll be shocked, they drink their urine as water. And so it was so hard. So sometimes I would just donate water to the prisoners, little food, deodorants here and there. And recently I went to the grocery shop here in America, and then the lady checking me out shared a story with me that broke my heart and made me realize that even in our local community, there are people struggling. So just recently, last weekend, I was able to visit Esther Marie homeless shelter for women right here in Cincinnati, Ohio, where I am. And we were able to bless these women with sanitary pad, with toothpaste and toothbrushes, canned food, and they were so excited. And just seeing these women who are homeless, some of them share their story, and it touched my heart. And so this is what gives me joy. I am not rich. I don't have that much, but the little that I have, and just seeing other people smile because of me, it gave me so much joy. And anytime I do this, I am blessed in a very different, very special way. Like I said, I've gone through divorce and I've gone through a lot, but look at what God keep blessing me even having my smile on, like you're saying, that is a huge blessing on its own, and nothing pushes me down anymore. Nothing discourages me anymore because I feel like I have life. And then if I have life and I'm able to make somebody smile, somebody's happy just because of me. It's always the little things. It's always the little things, and it doesn't have to be big. It's just sometimes picking the phone and just checking up on somebody. How are you doing? And so with all this little thing, it came up with Highly Favored Foundation. So Highly Favored Foundation is just here to stay, to touch the lives of these widows, these struggling women, destitute kids, the sick kids, just to bring smile and just provide them with some basic needs so they can wake up in the morning and also have food on their table to eat and have something to wear.
I'm blown away. I don't know if I should just fall on my knees or just write you a check. I'm like I think what happens is that I think sometimes we forget, when you think about in the Bible with the children of Israel, there was one thing that God was always saying, remember, to remember him when he brought them out. And I lived in a shelter twice.
Oh,
Three
wow.
times. I lived in the shelter, in a women's shelter 3 times. And I remember, and sometimes when you're going through and you're living in the shelter, sometimes you just want out by any means necessary. And so sometimes what happens is you just keep going. And sometimes there are moments where God has to remind you, remember when, even before he brought the children into the land of plenty, he was always reminding them about what he did for them. And I think sometimes God uses people to remind us about getting back to what matters most. And I think what happens is the more we spend on trying to just keep going and living, sometimes you forget. Sometimes you forget. Sometimes you get comfortable. And it looks like your life and sometimes God will allow things to shift in your life to remind you that, that he's still an ever-present help, and not just only in the time of need, but sometimes God just wants to be present. He wants to be actively a part of our decision-making process. He wants to be actively a part of our daily life. He wants to commune with us, and he wants to be a part of our businesses. He wants to be a part of our family. And I think what happens is in a society, especially in America, where there's so much emphasis on physical wealth and physical things, that we forget that we're just a shy short of getting ready to be in the same position to be able to, and we're not promised life. We don't know. As we can see now, people are dying left and right. But the fact is, we are given a certain amount of time to accomplish the will of God for our life and our timing. And we don't know how long that is. Only God knows. So it looks like you've taken your life and just use gratefulness as a way to remember what God has done for you. And I love that you said that you've given to other women to help them create money for their families. That's an amazing thing. It's unselfish. And I love it, Alberta. I mean, wow, you make me just want to I feel like Wonder Woman. I feel like I want to go do some more stuff.
You are doing amazing too. Look at you. Yes, you're sharing the word of God, and that's so powerful. Thank you.
Yeah, I've been through a lot too, and there's some things I still go through, but I realize it's a personal journey. It's a personal walk. And so there's things that you get from God in your personal walk that makes you appreciate the things around you, things that are happening in your midst. So I had definitely live an attitude of gratitude. There's always things to complain about. There's always things that could go wrong. But the greatest thing that I always keep in before me is that I don't have to be here to complain. I could not be here to see things go wrong or not go the way I want to, or I can take the approach of just being grateful, just grateful to be in the land of the living. But what good is it to be in the land of the living if you're not impacting people in that God has assigned to you? You're not really living, Alberta, and I'm sure you agree with that too. You're not
Yeah,
really living if you're not doing the very thing that God has put on the inside of you to do.
very
You will live
true.
a miserable life. I don't care how much money you have, how if or where you live, or if you're not doing that thing that God has called you to do, you are still really not living. You got people who are taking themselves out, committing suicide because they can't handle the things that are going through because they don't have a relationship with God. And then
That's
you have
true.
some that do have a relationship with God and have lost courage, which why they're discouraged, you know. And so they don't have courage, they have lost faith. So when you see people like you that show up and smile and say, you know what, one thing I've learned is the smallest things that make the biggest impact. Sometimes it's not
Very
always the
true.
big things. It's not always the big things. It's the smallest things
The smallest
that
things.
make the biggest impact.
And
Sometimes
I agree.
just being there, just to listen, and just the fact that you're just a good steward over not only your money, which is why God is blessing you. You're a good steward over your family. I look at your kids. Your kids look happy. Like your kids are like, they be in the picture, camera ready, just like you. Like,
Yes.
and
You've
I
been
think about
following me for real.
I
Wow.
have
Thank you.
Alberta. Let me tell you, I've been following you. I think I found out your page through Esther. Esther, I think I
Estania
found out
Miche.
and Mitchell. Yes, I love Esther. I love, love,
Oh, I
love.
love her
I
too.
love Esther. Every time she comes to Atlanta, when I can, the last couple of times that she came, I wasn't able to meet up with her, and I was like, darn it, But I love meeting with her and her sister. They are just amazing. And I think and everything that Esther was doing, I was a part of. I was just like, I'm gonna be there because I love the simplicity of and the desire to be able to teach women,
That's
because
true.
the reality is that we live in a time where we have a little bit more freedom, than we used to have. We are able to start our own businesses and help contribute to our families, especially, when you have children, this in America you need two incomes to live a comfortable lifestyle. you
That's
know
true.
it's just the way it is, and so it's just a privilege to be able to take some of the things that we have and being able to monetize it and to show other people. That's one of the things, that's one of the reasons why I started my academy, my wisdom academy, because I
Oh,
I have an academy called Becoming a Woman of Proverbs Wisdom Academy. And the reason why I started that academy is because I said I wanted to be able to take women, because I know what I had to do. I started entrepreneurship when I was flat broke.
wow.
I started entrepreneurship when I was, because I too have been married twice. I started entrepreneurship like I was kind of thrusted into it because, like I said, in this day and time, when you have 4 kids and you've got to feed them, it just wasn't enough to be able to work a job and be able to pay for a roof over your head. It just wasn't enough. And I wasn't that kind of mother that wanted to work 2, 3, 4, 5 jobs and not have time for my kids because
No,
they only had one parent. And so sometimes I didn't have that help with an additional parent to help take care of them while I do different things. So as single mothers, sometimes we struggle with wanting to do things, but not really wanting to start businesses and do different things. But it's difficult when you have to manage your time. How did you manage your time with doing your foundation and being able to work, for Blue Cross Blue Shield and spend time with the Lord? How did you manage your time and still be able to not get overwhelmed? Because you look like you've got this mastered.
yes. So I plan. I like planning. I like writing things down. I
Yeah,
try.
yes.
So my kids, I have 6 little kids, and I want to be so involved with them. And to the glory of God, they've never been to daycare since they were little because I was blessed to be
Wow.
able to bring my mom here. So then my
Wow.
mom was very supportive. My mom didn't live with us. but she had her own place, but then she will come and help us. She's been a great help to me, and I can she's been just so helpful. And I feel like she is growing and she needed her own time as well. So I'm like, hey, I told my husband, I said, we have to plan this together. We have to see how we're going to work this out. I used to be able to work 40 hours. I don't work 40 hours anymore. I cut my hours down from 40 hours. I was working less hours, I think 30 hours a week. And I was doing my foundation. And so I started working from home as well. So I work from home full time. And
Nice.
then so I can be there for my little kids as much as I can. I plan my vacations here and there. Even when it's 2 days, I try to enjoy myself for 2 days. So
I
anytime,
see.
sometimes I'll go to, yes. Like you said, it's just the little things though, because
Yeah.
you're always not gonna, for me, I'm always, it's always something going on. So I have to tell myself, like, I woke up this morning and I said, look, this is going on, this is going on. I'm still gonna choose happiness every single day.
Mm, mm,
I'm choosing happiness regardless of what is going on at my work, regardless of what is going on in my house, at my job, whatever situation. I'm choosing happiness. I'm going to look at the bright side. And trust me, every day, single day you wake up in the morning, there is something to be very grateful for, unless you didn't take your time to think about it. And so if I
mm,
don't find anything that I'm grateful for, I'm like, oh, I woke up this morning. People had COVID. People
mm,
became homeless. But I'm still here. I'm still breathing. Oh my goodness. I can still feed my kids. I'm thank you, Lord Jesus. And I just put some music on and I'm like, okay, we're gonna pay that rent. It's gonna be okay, no problem. I'm so happy. I'm gonna enjoy the moments now. So that
mm,
is that is me. So I'm working from home. I used to stress myself when I used to work, and it got to a point that I have told my manager, I said, look, my kids come first. I've been working for this company for 12 years and I feel like I've given it all my all. So you guys have to be so flexible with me as much as you can. And you see, I work for the organ transplant department for Anthem Blue
mm.
Cross. And so I have seen the struggle that people go through daily because
Yeah.
I'm working on people's benefits and I'm
Mhm,
working on, you will see a baby, somebody have a kidney transplant, somebody needed a lung transplant, a bone marrow transplant, and they don't even have the benefit for it. They have to go through it, are they going to be approved? Are they going to be denied? And I have seen the struggle, I've seen the fear and in people's voices, and that makes me appreciate life so much, even good health. So if
mm,
you're out there listening, don't take your good health for granted. People
mm,
just want to live just a day just to be able to just being no with no pain just for a day. So if you're out there and by the grace of God you might have trouble here and there, you might probably be struggling to pay your bills, but if you wake up in the morning and you are in good health, let me tell you, it's a huge deal. Don't take it for granted. We come to a place where we start taking things for granted. I have seen so much struggle through my work and seeing all these patients and needing all this organ transplants. Some of them go through this transplants and they still loses their life. And
wow.
it changes my perspective on most of the things in my life. I
Mm,
am so let me tell you, I am so grateful. It got to a point where my husband will say, you are always happy. What is it? What are you happy for? I mean, he asks me sometimes. And then but gradually, he came to understand my perspective. He wakes up in the morning nowadays and he can laugh because he used to be always stressed, like, I have to do this and I have to do that, and the kids and that. I'm like, one day at a time, one day at a time, one day at a time. So it's
mhm,
always been one day at a time for me. And to
mm,
be able to
mm.
handle my work and my kids and my marriage and my life, and I'm doing charity work, it's just one day at a time, and it's priority. I set priorities. If this can be done, it can be done. I'm going to give it a try the next day. So I try not to stress myself. And the most important thing first is to have quality time with my kids. Let me tell you,
Mm,
if you don't and love myself the more. I weighed 300 pounds. Let me tell you. You see me
wow.
rock my heels and everything,
Yeah, girl,
and
you can
I am
start.
overweight, and I would have every reason probably to be sad or what, but I'm still in good health. I still look at myself like, damn, you are beautiful, Alberta. Like, you know what I mean? I
Yeah.
literally sometimes stand in the beauty. I'm like, wow. And so I started having most of my followers who are plus sizes. They're like, oh, Alberta, you make plus size look beautiful, because,
Mhm.
people just used to think you were just beautiful when you were skinny, but it's just how you feel about yourself. You have to
Mhm.
love yourself, because if you don't have your love for yourself, you cannot give love to anybody else. If
That's
you can
right.
be married, if you don't love yourself, you can be married and you can be rich and you can be anything. But if you don't love yourself, you would not have, if you don't have something, you can't share what you don't have. So that is
Right.
so important, to love yourself so you are able to extend that love to other people. So self-love means so much to me, and setting priorities means so much to me. And then just blessing other people, be it my smile, and be it just picking up the phone and checking up on somebody, be it, I get to the grocery store, and sometimes I'm always looking around to see who can I bless today. Who can I bless in my own? Every day I wake up, I'm grateful. And then I'm like, okay, who can I bless today? I don't have much. I just probably have $5 today, but who can I bless? Maybe with $1. That
Mm,
has always been my perspective. Sometimes I'm in a queue and I will see a car behind me, and I'm looking at what kind of car it is, and are there kids in those cars? And if it's 4 or 5 kids, I'm like, hey, I'm paying for their order. And then I just go,
wow.
you know? And so,
Yeah.
and it gives me so much joy when I do that. It makes
Yeah.
me happy. So it's always the little things, and coming back to how I manage all these things is just setting priorities
Yeah.
and loving yourself the more, and just taking one day at a time. And the most important thing is trusting God,
Yes.
and He gives you strength and gives you grace each and every day to go through what you go through.
That's beautiful. That wow. And that's true. You have to prioritize. And I think sometimes as women and mothers, we feel like when we don't prioritize, because especially when you love your children, you feel like you're being selfish, but not realizing that the scripture says you have to love your neighbor as you love yourself.
That
When
is
you don't
true.
love yourself, you even though you think you're already disobeying, because if you don't, and loving yourself is not necessarily about it's not just in one area. It's being balanced with understanding your worth and your value comes from God.
That
And
is
so he's
true.
already placed value on you. He already places he already your worth has already been established in him. So we don't need to look for outside things to validate who we are. We just
That is
have to just
true.
be. We just have to be who we are. And we have to be it in our private lives, so we can be consistent when we're being it in the public. And that is what brings real encouragement, real impact, is when people see you as you are in your private life, and they see that you're the same when you're in the public. And
That
that's
is
the main
true.
thing that we should be working. That's really what it's like to love your neighbor as yourself, because if I'm consistent with who I am in private, if I'm loving and I'm respectful and I'm hospitable and I'm giving, I should be that way at home. My children and my family should be recipients of that. You
That
know,
is true.
you're giving to your foundation and to other families because you have mastered doing it in your own house.
That
And
is
so
very
when your
true.
kids, a lot of the times, especially growing up in ministries and stuff like that, the emphasis is on giving of yourself to others. And then you have people that are frustrated as Christians, and they don't even desire ministry anymore because it's like I'm doing me, you know.
Mhm. That is true.
And so I think it's important for us to have these conversations and discussions and talk about how it's important. Like today, I took a moment, I just drove on the highway, and I needed that because I started to just sometimes just things you do have to, things that you're doing, you get, when you sometimes where, God is giving us things and putting things on our plate, and we just really, along with praying for things, we have to pray for the ability to sustain and prioritize. And one of the things for me too is prioritizing my girls and making sure that my kids, because my other kids are grown, they've had the attention. I've sacrificed a lot, and I had a lot of negative feedback about just sacrificing. I remember knowing that I needed to work 2 and 3 jobs, and I did for a season, and then I saw how it affected my kids, and I thought, I have a responsibility. This is going to be somebody's mother or father. This is going to be somebody's, somebody's husband or wife. And I realized that these are people that I'm raising. So I had to make sacrifices. And sometimes I wasn't able to participate in a lot of things. And sometimes people didn't always want to hang out with me because it was like, you always got to be home with the kids. But I realize now, and I look at my kids now and I smile.
You did it.
Because I look at them all doing well.
Wow.
And they all have a relationship with God. And most importantly, they understand all the things that I sacrificed, and because I was making every moment a teachable moment, even in the hard times. I remember there were times when our water went out. We didn't have any hot water for like 6 months. No, 4 months. We didn't have water for 4 months. And I mean hot water for 4 months. And I would say, it was just really hard. It was just that season of my life. It was really hard. And I would create teachable moments for them. And I would say, what, God will provide. And now when I see them managing their money and I see them like doing things, and I'm like, wow, all the sacrifices and things that I had to go through and suffer through, was I had to stay in the mindset that I am teaching them. Most people might look at it and say, oh, you're teaching them about poverty. You're teaching them how not to have. No, I was teaching them how to trust God when things don't go your way, so that when things go, we don't know we don't need direction when things go well. We got it all figured out. It's when things get difficult that you need to train them not to faint. If you faint in the day of adversity, your strength is weak. And so we teach them, we teach our children about our own personal lives, how you live your lives, not to emphasize being able to live privately the way you live publicly, so that your impact can be, it could be something of true value. We can give our kids,
with you.
We can leave them money, that's easy to do. You can leave them, clothes and shoes. That's easy to do. When you leave them principles, and when you leave them life skills and learning, and leave them with instructions on how, not only just by instructions, but examples of what it's like to really depend on God, because the just shall live by faith. We forget that we live by faith. And so when we teach our children that, and see them walk in it, that's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing.
I agree. You are just so beautiful. I can't even believe you have a 29-year-old. You have a 19-year-old. Oh my goodness.
Yes, wow. My oldest is 29 and my youngest is 4. Nothing but the grace of God. You are too. But to me, I just, it's nobody but God, because I'm telling you, I had some seasons in my life where I didn't feel the way that I do, didn't look the way that I do. And I think over the years, I've just learned to just take time for me. Take time to, get up in the morning. If it takes you a little bit of extra time, I go in the mirror and I say the same thing you say, girl. I'll be like, girl, you look good. Girl, you are amazing. You can do anything. You don't have to settle for just this. You can do this. Yes, this happened yesterday, but you know what? Tomorrow's going to be better. And my kids say the same thing. And I, when I got sick and was going through some stuff, I say, you know what? We can choose how we decide we want to live our lives in the realm that God has given us, because he gave us free will. So I choose. Just not every day, but every moment. There's times when discouragement and depression tries to hit me, but I choose, no, you can't come this way. You can't come this way, because I have too much proof that God has been good.
That is true.
I have too much evidence So I
That is
know what
true.
it's like. I know what it's like to abound. I know what it's like to abase. But most importantly, I've learned how to be content.
That is
And
the
I
word.
think that is the
That
word.
that is
Mhm,
the word. Content,
mhm.
contentment.
Content. He's given us
It's
all things pertaining to life and godliness. We have everything that we need on the inside of us. We
that
have
is
everything.
true. So that just remind me of something, contentment, because what I've noticed recently because of social media,
Mhm,
that's what you're saying. People have their private life, which is totally different from what they show on the gram and for social media, and people feel like they're in competition. So most especially young folks or teenagers, even us women, putting so much unnecessary pressure because I'm looking at her marriage and oh well, they go out to eat every day, but you don't know what goes on behind the scenes. So just be
mhm,
content with what you have and just pray that it gets better. But don't wish to be somebody. Don't be jealous. Don't be envious, because we turn to be jealous when we see somebody doing so well and we feel like, oh, we've been behind. Oh, I would have been here. Why is she having all this good time and I'm just here? You have no idea how they sacrifice to get where they are. You have no
mhm,
clue what is happening behind the scene. So don't be in competition. That's what I told myself. I told myself, Alberta, do not be in competition with anyone. You are
right.
just as I'm not perfect, but you are just amazing how you are. It's just one day at a time. Your turn will come. Your turn will come. And
Mhm,
just with prayer and just with a good attitude and and with your faith in Christ, you're gonna get there. So it's just like you said, you would always have to talk to yourself because problem
mhm.
will come every single day. The devil will
Absolutely.
find something just to distract you, and it can sometimes it comes from our spouses,
Not,
because
yep,
sometimes you wake up in the morning
yep.
and sometimes my husband will get on my nerves so bad and I'm like, this is somebody I'm living with, and I'm expecting you to make me happy. So one thing I learned in marriage as well is you have to find ways to make yourself happy. And then
Yes,
when their happiness comes, that is bonus to you. Otherwise,
yes,
I've learned people are always waiting for their spouses, or I'm waiting for my husband to make me happy. And so if my husband don't bring me flower or do this, and then I'm sad, well, you're gonna be miserable if your
yes.
expectations is
That's
always
facts.
high. So I have learned to be at that point where I'm always, happy regardless. And then so that happiness is spreading. And so now it's like, what is making you happy? Can I get you this? And so that pull him into my positivity.
Yes, yes.
That pulls him there. But otherwise, people don't want to always hear about your problems. Let me be honest with you. And I'm not trying to, people just, they
That's
hear
true.
it, but they're like, most people just listen, they don't care. And the people
Right.
who really, really care are just few. So what is the point of just keep talking about your problems every single day? One thing I've learned also is when people come to me, oh, Alberta, you're doing foundation, we need help with this, we need help with that. They will give you about 10 problems, and then I was like, okay, I will see what I can do. But you have some other person or this other woman who will come, Albert, I'm having this problem, but this is the plan I have. I'm planning on doing this. If I get this, I could do this. Those are the people I help first, because
Mhm,
they are not just telling me their problems, but they're telling me their plans. They're
mhm.
telling me I have a plan to do this. I'm going to give this a try. And so this person have a plan. The little you give that person, the person can sustain themselves. Well, you have somebody else who is always telling you their problems, telling you their problems. Of course, I cannot solve every problem. I can just help. So
Mm,
that is something that I teach my kids, even though they are so little. I tell them, look, you have problem, but what are you planning? What is your next plan? Always, when you need something, come tell me what your plans are, and so I'll be helped.
mhm,
That just it's something that I want to encourage everybody listening,
mhm.
because every single day we're going to have problems that we go through, but by the grace of God and with the
Absolutely.
help of God, we will get out of it. Because the Bible says many are the
Absolutely.
afflictions of the righteous, but the Lord delivered them. from it all. So the problems will come. The fact that we are powerful women and we trust in God doesn't mean everything is going to be rosy. No. So
Absolutely.
you could be like, you could be powerful and you could be prayerful, and still you're going to have problems knocking on your door. But there is one
Mhm.
promise that the Lord will deliver us from it all. We are not going to remain in our problems. It's just for a
Right.
season, and it's going to get to a point in time where you're going to be out of it. So that's how I reason. That's how I think. That's why I help people a lot in my own little way.
And I think that's important to know that this is it's something you have to do moment to moment. You know, Jesus said that, you're going to have, as long as you're in this world, you're going to have tribulation,
Yep.
as long as you're in this world. The thing is that but he said, but be of good cheer. I've overcome the world.
I
So
like that.
there's things that we're going to go through in life. And as we learn, because you could teach a man how to fish and he'll eat for a day. You could give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. But if you teach him how to fish, he'll live for a lifetime. I
That
think
is
it's
true.
important that as we go through different things, that we teach people how to, just as much as we're helping them out, but give them solutions on how to get out of it the next time this happens. When this happens, these are some ways that you can do this. These are some ways that you can do that. This is some things you can do. And it's good that you not only help with your foundation, but you mentioned just being able to help them generate income for their families so
That
that
is
they
true.
can continue to be productive and support their family. Because now with COVID happening in America, there are all kinds of opportunities are happening, and you just have to find, a lot of creative ways. I know that's what I had to do when, in back in like 2009 or 10, I had to learn entrepreneurship in order to learn how to survive, because I couldn't be, I went to school for like 9, 10 months out of the year, and I worked 2 jobs, and I realized that I was not there for my kids. And that to me was huge. So I had to find creative ways to be able to help solve people's problem, which is why I started a virtual call center so that, people can work from home and be able to, still be able to supply. They may not have a lot of experience in entrepreneurship, but may still want to work, can work for other
Amazing.
companies and provide customer service for them also while they're home with their kids and stuff like
That's
that.
amazing.
So creating different streams of income is to help you so that when one goes down, you have
You have the
several
other one.
others to fill its place. And sometimes there might be moments where most of them go down, and that's where you have to trust God. You have to trust God and be like, okay, Lord, you
Like
know.
USI Tech. You remember that, right?
Uh-huh. It's like, okay, Lord, okay. But you know what? God's never surprised. Sometimes he allows things to happen just to
That is
see
true.
if our trust is in him or in the things that we have. And I
That
tell
is
people
true.
all the time is that, you're never going to have a moment where there's not going to be something that is going to bring some sort of concern, but it's how you go through it. It's how you go through it, how you face it. And our children watch, and it teaches them how to go through trials and tribulations. When they go through things, they watch us and they see us as examples and say, oh wait, I remember this scenario with my mom or with my dad. They did this and they went through that, and it's like, oh, okay, now I know how to deal with this, now I know how to deal with that. So I'm just excited. I just like, your presence is just so amazing. You just have such
Oh,
but not only are you just beautiful externally, you have a beautiful spirit. I love that everything about you is consistent. And everybody's like agreeing with me. Monique says, "Come on now."
oh.
We have so
Thank you
much,
so
we have so
much.
many people that are responding, and Antoinette said you're teaching them true value. And
Oh,
Monique
thank you
says,
guys.
that amazing. And Antoinette said, yes, I choose happiness even in sickness or whatever. Absolutely. And she
Yes,
said, you have to find your own happiness even within a marriage. You have to be content with you and love yourself. Self-love begets love. Yes.
yes,
Absolutely. Solution oriented people sometimes simply require a jump start. Absolutely. And I think
that
it's
is
easy
true.
sometimes for people. I think it's easy sometimes, like where people think that when, because you can be in the best of the situations and stuff happen, and sometimes people look at you when things happen and they look at you and they like, and it's like, your day is coming too one day. You know, you're gonna have that day too. And so
One
you just have
day.
to you have to be careful not to look down on people that, especially we have a tendency, especially, we have a tendency to, when we see somebody who's at one stage go through a low point in their life, we're real easy to just say, to just kick them down, be like, well, you should have did this and you should have did that, and not realizing that sometimes people, you have those moments, you have those
That
moments
is
where things
true.
happen, and when you have people there to say, you know what, and remind you of what you're capable of,
That is
and
very
sometimes
true.
you have that, and sometimes you don't. You have to remind yourself. You got to be like David. You got to encourage yourself in the Lord.
You
When
have
things
to
are not
encourage
going,
yourself.
you have to encourage yourself. Absolutely. And Antoinette says sometimes God allows brooks to dry up so we can tap into the resources that He has already placed on the inside of us. That is true.
Very true.
That is true. Because sometimes you don't know what you got on the inside of you until you put in position to have to use it. And those are just some of the lessons that I learned. Alberta, it was such a blessing having you here. I'm not going to keep you too long because I know you got those babies, and I know
I know.
they're probably like, come on, mom, you've been talking too long. I
Yeah,
know
they're falling
mine
asleep
already at the
now.
door. I know mine are at the door, like, okay, they wait for that door to open, like, and they be sometimes asking me questions like, Ma, they be trying to whisper. They're not good at whispering. They be like, Ma, are you finished?
Oh, you are pro in that.
Oh gosh, I know I've learned them. So I appreciate you coming on the Sisterhood Check-in and just really being transparent and opening up your life to us. I am sure that you have helped so many women that are watching the
Oh,
broadcast in more ways than one. And you guys can reach Alberta, and if you want to actually sow into her foundation, you can go to www.highlyfavored in the letter F after favored.com. Make sure you guys support her foundation. She's doing an amazing job. And it is good to see somebody that is actually taking what they have. I think that's why God gives you so much. He trusts you. You've been
oh,
faithful over the little. And when you're faithful over the little, he makes you ruler over much. And that
that is
doesn't
true.
necessarily mean it doesn't have to necessarily be monetary. It can be in little things. When you're faithful even over the little gifts that he give you, even the little
That is
businesses,
true.
when you're faithful over the little ideas that he gives you, then he gives you more, And
And
so I'm
faithfulness is,
just,
yeah, that's the word, faithful. Faithful. And so, you have to be very faithful in the little things you do. That's what I tell people. You cannot just get up and say, I have a foundation where you are not really doing anything. Just the fact that you have to be very faithful. And God sees through the hearts. God knows our hearts, and God sees in secret, and God knows our thoughts. And once your thoughts are good, regardless of what you're doing, God blesses you. Those blessings would exceed your expectations. You would just be amazed what God would keep doing. God has really blessed me in so many ways that, and I'm glad that you're saying you follow me and you see some of the things that I post, and God just been so amazing. And blessings is always not just material things, but
absolutely.
blessing can also be just the peace of mind that you have.
Mm,
Even sometimes in the midst of the storm, you are so
mm.
peaceful, that joy, and that's all blessings, the divine protection throughout the pandemic and COVID, and you are still safe, and your kids are safe. And those are all blessings that God blesses us just because we are blessing unto others, just because sometimes we put other people's need before ours, and sometimes we bless people even when we are in need in our own little way. So there is so much. God
Absolutely.
truly rewards kindness. So
Yes.
I just encourage everybody just to do their little. It's just the little things, the smallest things.
Yes. Yes, and peace is a kingdom. It's a kingdom initiative. It's something that you get only through the kingdom. Peace is a kingdom thing. The only true peace you have is in the kingdom of God. Everything else outside of the kingdom of God is temporal. So Antoinette says, "Thank you so much, Alberta, for what you do and who you are."
Oh,
Thank you, Nadira, for this one. God bless you both. I enjoyed this. Oh, thank you so much. I'm
thank
going to follow
you.
you too, Alberta. She says, I'm going to follow you
Yay.
too. Do I look up your foundation? She says, she's going to look up your foundation and she's going to try that. Thank you. See,
Oh,
you inspire
great.
so many people. Make sure you guys follow
Yay.
her on Facebook. You can follow Alberta at the @ highly favored F. Oh, excuse me. So make sure you go to her Facebook page, highly favored F. Sometimes she said it may come up as highly favored 501c3. So
Correct.
make sure you guys visit her and support. And we
Yay.
appreciate you. Make sure, and I wanted to make an announcement. If you have not purchased my book already, What Happened to Me? How Did I Get Here? You can order it on Amazon. Look it up by my name or What Happened to Me? How Did I Get Here?
Wow.
I've also have written a 100-page planner. It's called a wisdom planner journal. And this
Wow.
journal is amazing because it actually, most of the time, especially as mothers and when we have a habit sometimes of when we're journaling. We have so many things that go, we're trying to plan our day, but sometimes our mind is going in 100 different places while we're planning our day. So with this wisdom journal, the wisdom journal gives you an opportunity to jot down your thoughts that are going through your head as you're planning your day. So make sure you visit my website. Go to www.womenofproverbscoaching.com and make sure you check it out. And your sister says, great interview. Hi, Priceless.
Hello.
Your sister
I'm
is
glad you're
amazing too.
listening.
Your sister is amazing too. Awesome. Tomorrow I'm going to be also doing a class tomorrow evening on, for those of you that want to start your own broadcast and learn how to not only just start your own podcast and broadcast, but I'm going to show you some ways on how you can
Yay. I'm
monetize, how you can
I'm in. I'm
monetize
in.
it.
I'm in.
So I will send you the link, Alberta. It's going to be amazing. I have learned to just take the things that I know and show other people how to do the same thing, because all of us have something that God has placed on the inside of us. And sometimes you just need to connect with the right people to
That
bring
is
it to
true.
pass. So make sure you go to my website and sign up for tomorrow class at 7 p.m. We do them every week on Saturdays at 7 o'clock. We just did a video, Alberta, last week. I did a class on how to make video content that pop. And so that's
Wow.
amazing. So I show people how to take their videos, just regular videos that they have, and how to make them, because we do live in a world where social media is huge. So I show you
That
how to
is
take your
true.
message and make it, because we're in a world where people's attention span is less than 15 seconds. So I show you how to take those 15 seconds and help people to hear your message in a very creative and boisterous way. So make sure
Wow.
you join us tomorrow at 7 o'clock. You can go to the website to register. And don't forget, last but not least, Sundays at 7 p.m., we have dinner with the coaches. And so make sure you join us, where we have coaches from all different arenas are here
Wow.
to help you with your business, with life and business. So make sure you gather up your
Amazing.
questions, because we're going to have international, we're going to have herbal naturopath Charmaine Harrison there. She's teaching on how the importance of detoxing and pushing out waste in your body to be able to lose weight and to eat healthy through
I'm
lifestyle.
in there. Lose weight.
Yes. Yeah, she's amazing. And we also going to have our co-host Thomas. Thomas is also a marriage counselor, a marriage coach, and he's also a visionary coach. So he helps you take your vision by bringing clarity, and he has a business. It's called Taylor Your Dreams. He's also amazing. So you don't want to miss out. We have Kayla Kravick. Kayla is a confidence coach, and Kayla is I'm telling you, Kayla is the bomb when it comes to create. Kayla's in London, so we have people from all over the world. Kayla's in
Wow,
London.
amazing.
And Kayla is here to help with those that struggle with confidence in your life and business. We also have Latrell Allen. And Latrell Allen is an actress, a professional actress. And she shows you she helps those that are interested in going into the entertainment industry. She has all kinds of advice on what to do regarding that and so many more. We have Tracy Harris, which is one of our new coaches that have joined us. And she is a life and power coach. Tracy Harris is, she is amazing. I'm telling you, her testimony, God delivered her from lupus. And I'm telling you, her smile, her presence, and it's just, she does the best TikTok videos to me. I love her watching her TikTok videos. I mean, her amazing. TikTok videos just, oh my God, just amazing. It's just so much light. So make sure you join us on Sunday. And we're going to have a special guest that's going to be showing up on Sunday at 7:00. So make sure you join us. You'll, of course, see me advertising it, throughout the Facebook pages and stuff like that. But thank you guys so much for supporting Sisterhood Check-in every week. Our job is to, I always believe that just like hurt people, transform people can transform people too. The Bible tells us that we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of our testimony. Somebody, if you have a testimonial that you want to share with us here on the Sisterhood broadcast, make sure you inbox me. And let me know, and I'll be more than happy to share your story here with our audience so that you can sit in the seat in Sisterhood Check-in. So thank you guys for watching. We appreciate you, and I'll see you on tomorrow in the class. So thank you for watching. Thank you, Alberta. Did you have any last words that you wanted to say before we end the broadcast?
Oh, yeah, I just wanted to say thank you so much. Everyone that joined us, I am so grateful. Thanks for all the beautiful comments. Thanks for your kind words. And you especially, thank you very, very much. I didn't know you were following me all this while. And I'm truly honored. And I'm like, you look so amazing with all the kicks you have. And the 29-year-old, I'm still thinking about it. I'm still processing this. But you are amazing. And God bless you for the great thing you're doing. I'm so proud of you. And thanks to everybody.
Thank you. And don't forget to watch my daughter. She's going to be on Lifetime tomorrow at 8 p.m. She's going to be on Lifetime. She's a part of a movie called Pom Poms and Payback. So make sure you guys watch her on Lifetime tomorrow at 8:00 tonight. Thank you guys for watching. Stay with us while you watch this commercial, and we'll see you tomorrow.
I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord that I wake again. I wake again. I pray the Lord that Now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord that I wake again. I wake again. I pray the Lord that I wake.